Calaroga Shark Media.
From the coast of Venezuela, where it would be a shame if something happened to your fishing boats, this is Ballot.
That's right, and wars are a great way to distract people from the issues at hand, so let's hit this. President Trump reversed course, saying House Republicans should vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, this after spending weeks fighting against it. That's a complete 180, or as we call it in Washington, reading the room. Trump posted on Truth Social that Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. Which is an interesting conclusion to reach after a month of very publicly trying to hide them. That's the political equivalent of someone spending an hour pushing on a door marked pull and then announcing, I meant to do that. He added that nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive. Nobody cared. The man was arrested twice. He went to prison. There were trials. The FBI had a whole thing about it. That's a lot of people caring. That's like saying nobody cared about Al Capone when he was alive because the tax evasion is boring. Trump wrote that the focus on Epstein files is a hoax promoted by Democrats, but it's distracting the party. So it's a hoax, but also real enough to be a problem? That's advanced doublethink. The files are fake, but also we should release them, but also they're getting in our way. Pick a lane. The drama escalated when Trump endorsed a primary challenger against Marjorie Taylor Greene on Friday. Greene says it's retaliation for supporting the Epstein file release. So Trump dumped her over documents. That's got to be a first. Most political breakups are about policy or lobbyist money, not filing cabinets. Greene told CNN she doesn't understand why Trump is fighting this so hard, especially since Epstein survivors have told her the president did nothing wrong. She posted a letter of support from 27 survivors, which is actually meaningful testimony, but raises an obvious question. If you're innocent and the victims agree, why does this feel like pulling teeth? How do you distract people from asking about the Epstein files? You start a war. President Trump announced he's considering talks with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, which is interesting timing considering we've currently got an armada of warships parked off their coast. That's quite the conversation starter. Hey, Nicolas, we should really sit down and chat. Also, please ignore the entire Fifth Fleet in your driveway. The diplomatic outreach comes after weeks of escalating tensions in the Caribbean. We've deployed thousands of troops, conducted lethal attacks on alleged drug trafficking boats, authorized covert CIA actions, and threatened land attacks. So naturally, the next logical step is, want to grab coffee? Trump has accused Maduro of leading a narcotics organization called the Cartel de los Soles, which translates to Cartel of the Suns. Even their drug cartels sound like luxury resort chains. Come for the cocaine, stay for the complimentary beach towel. The president says Venezuela would like to talk, and the U.S. may be having some discussions. Maybe having discussions. We've got more military hardware in the Caribbean than a Call of Duty loading screen, but sure, we're still deciding if we want to talk. That's like surrounding someone's house with SWAT teams and then saying, we're thinking about maybe calling first. So we've moved from maximum pressure to let's chat in about 3 weeks. That's diplomacy at light speed. Next week, we'll probably be hosting a state dinner. Week after that, back to the warships. President Trump is calling for NBC to fire Seth Meyers again. Trump posted on Truth Social that Meyers has an incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome and should be fired immediately, all caps, with an exclamation point. That's how you know it's serious presidential business. Trump wrote that Meyers, obvious, was viewed last night in an incurable rage and called his show a ratings disaster. Which is fascinating because someone claiming another person is in an uncontrollable rage while posting in all caps about firing them is chef's kiss irony. That's not self-awareness, that's a complete lack of mirrors. The president added that, aside from everything else, Meyers has no talent. Aside from everything else, what's the everything else? The incurable rage? The ratings disaster? That's a lot of qualifiers before you get to no talent. That's like saying, aside from being a 5-star restaurant with excellent reviews, the food is terrible. Shortly after Trump's post, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr reposted the president's message, just retweeted it. No comment, no context, just amplification. The head of the Federal Communications Commission, the agency that regulates broadcast licenses, sharing the president's demand to fire a late-night host. Totally normal, nothing ominous there. On Sunday, Carr posted that he was at Mar-a-Lago this weekend with Trump. So he spent the weekend with the president, then immediately signal boosted his call to fire a comedian. That's not suspicious timing at all. That's just a fun coincidence, like how your car breaks down right after you skip an oil change. Trump went after Meyers earlier this month, too, calling him the least talented person to perform live in the history of television and a truly deranged lunatic. The history of television. That includes all the infomercials. Portions of today's show were made with the help of AI.